Hey everybody, it's Jeff with ID10T Garage, and we're back out here. We're working on the side of the cowl. So with most Mustangs, your cowls are going to be rotted. The 69s are a little different because they all leak out into a side. So there's a side piece on here, and the rockers and everything else are all in that same location. So while we're waiting on our door stuff, we're going to concentrate on the driver's side cowl and see if we can get it all welded in. So we're going to have a lot of metal work, a lot of cutting, a lot of rust discovery, and so on and so forth that we're going to work on. So let's get to it.
I've been dreaming on in my head like I've seen it. A life worth living is a life with meaning. I'll do what I love till my heart stops beating. I'm feeding this demon. Got a taste, can't erase bitterness in my face. Work a job every day till your dreams fade away. Like a card, never change, play the game that we say.
Hey everybody, we're back out here. And I have decided while I'm waiting on my door hit pin and doing a couple other things that I want to make sure with the door alignment before I weld in the quarter. Plus I have to determine if my spot welder is going to work for that setup too, is I'm going to do some panel removal. So this thing has got quite a bit of rot, especially down at the bottom. The rocker does too. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this because it's just spot welded in, so I should be able to use my drill and just get this off. So I figure, why not? It's a good time to do it, especially with the door right here and the fender off, so let's do it. Well, surprise, surprise. We got that cowl, outer cowl section off, and we have more rot. Imagine that. So I've got to decide what I'm going to do here. I mean, I knew I needed to work this outer rocker. I've got patch panel for that. But I didn't know was I was going to have to do some stuff here. So, and that's rotted out there along that lip. It's not so bad on the inside. Bottom side's probably pretty bad. So I gotta decide whether I want to replace that whole piece. Not horrible to do, not easy to do either, I suppose. So yep, decisions have to be made now. Alright, so I did a little more work off camera because basically I had to unbolt my parking brake from the inside, undo the high beam, and then remove the little air piece, so which was these just screws, but the brake hid this top screw, so you couldn't get it out without taking the brake out. So now you can really see what's going on. It's not the worst. The bottom is the worst, of course. So I'm gonna have to cut probably part of this out at least. Ideally you take the whole thing out, but I don't want to, and we'll see. I'll have to order this piece obviously and then kind of assess, because I really don't want to have to take this up here off, because it's secured to the cowl, and that's going to end up ripping some of this probably, and it's in there pretty tight. I'm not sure the easiest way to get that out, or if it's just the whole lip. I'm assuming it's not the whole lip from what I've seen before. So, but yeah, it's in there so tight, it's gonna be really hard to deal with. So we'll see. I might take the whole panel out, or I might just make a straight cut across here or something, and then just kind of put it in place. So it's not a major issue there. But yep, more rot. Hey, as you saw yesterday, we had a lot of chaos in the cowl, so just back to work on that. About to do some cleanup, start grinding away some of the rust, and then start cutting it apart and seeing where we can get this rocker in. So that's what I'm probably going to work on. So let's get to it. All right, we did some cleaning. Got all the welds and stuff cleaned up over here. I still need to clean a lot of that. I cut a lot more out, got it all the way down to the edge. We cut this out further and got it all the way squared around there. As you can see, I'm leaving part of the rocker I didn't want to use. This is a 68 rocker, and I don't know how similar they are or not, so I didn't want to lose my fender hole. So I've already got this lined up and marked. I've got 3 different screws that'll hold it in place, and let's see if we can just put it there. But in general, as you can see, it actually, the lines up really nice. So I've got that all ready to go, but I need to do some work before I weld this in. So this is where the rocker was rotten. This is that inside rocker, and I had patched it with new torque box. So when I was under the car, I patched this piece in. So I'm going to go ahead and probably weld this line where it's still, you know, obscured. So I'm going to weld that to just get it more solid and make sure it and the rocker, the torque box are nice and solid in there. And then we'll weld through, primer all this, get some stuff in there, clean this up a little bit more. Even though I've been vacuuming it out, I sprayed air all the way down through the rocker to try to kind of push out as much as I could to try to get some stuff out of there. I also found some more rot right here, so I'm gonna have to do some work right there. I'm gonna get some thick metal and kind of put in that spot and, you know, clean that out a bit. Hopefully it's not too bad. I mean, it's minor right now, but you know how it is. If you get too crazy with some of this stuff, it'll just keep rotting. So I'm hoping I can just clean this up and put a little patching right there. This section looks pretty good. I need to clean the metal though. I need to wire wheel essentially, and or I like to flap disc, but I'll have to probably make a little piece for right here. So even this outside edge may be a little banged up and nasty, so I might just kind of flatten it back out and then make a small piece that'll weld on to that section. So, but all in all, it's pretty nice. It's nice now that we've got our piece to go in there. So progress as always. Later. Hey everybody, it's Saturday. We're back out here about to get to work again. So today's goal is going to be to weld this hole up. It's not really a hole, so this is actually my torque box, and I patched it from the underneath. So I'm gonna weld this, then I'm gonna clean this a little bit more and get it painted with some weld through primer, and then we're gonna get that rocker in, and then we're gonna make our patch panel for right here. So we're gonna go ahead and seal this off. Eventually I will be putting AC in this car, so we're gonna go ahead and just seal it up. So all right, let's get to it. Alright, getting everything prepped for welding. We got this cleaned up, and then we put our weld through primer on it, drilled all our holes for our spot welds, and put weld through primer on here. We also seam sealed where I did my welding to put the inner rocker attached to the torque box on the upper part of it. So that's all sealed up there, so we're pretty much good to go. We just got to put this back together and start welding. Well, gotta let it dry a little bit, but you know. Alright, so we've got it mostly welded in, and I ran out of welding gas, per usual for me, but I did a pretty good job. As you can see, you got a couple little pinholes, I guess you would say, and then here I just don't have it smoothed out because this is really hard to get to, but yeah, I got a little bit there, but for the most part we got some pretty solid welds in there, and got all our spot welds in before I ran out of gas. And then I smoothed this top section out as well with the angle grinder. I still got to get inside, so that's kind of a spot that I still need to work on. As you can see, there's nothing there. I've got to weld that, but I need to get more gas. But I figured, you know, at least I can start working on my panel for here. So we'll start cutting some more and cleaning it up more, and go ahead and get our piece of metal fit for here. All right, there we go. Need to do a couple little fixes still. I mean, there's a little bit I need to clean up here. Probably chop part of this off here, this edge. Need to take that lip off a little bit. There's a little bit of a gap there, but that's not too bad. But for the most part, pretty clean. Got it nice and set up. Everything's gonna have to be bent in a little bit, so, but I'm pretty happy with that. I surprise myself sometimes. I don't usually do good at getting the fitment perfect, and that actually came out pretty clean. We'll have to do something right there. Either weld a little extra right there, which is more than likely what I'll do. Just put a nice bead there when we weld it in, and then also seam seal the shit out of it. But pretty happy in general. We got that little spot there that I might, you know, just weld through. I might put some copper plate on the back side and just kind of weld it. But our gaps are pretty good. And once we push this forward and get everything where it needs to be, it'll be real nice. So, pretty happy with that. Hey, thanks everybody for tuning into this week's episode. Obviously, we got a lot done. There's a lot to do. There's a lot of rust on this damn car. The more you dig, the more you find, and I just can't let it go. I want this car to last a long time. So I'm going to be digging through this thing over and over again. I've been working on this car a lot. I even worked on it a lot a couple years ago. So it's just constant work until we get everything done and done right. So as you saw, we got everything cut and ready to weld in place. We got our rocker cut out and welded the new one most of the way in. We got everything coated with weld through primer. We got our new patch panel for the side of the inner cowl where our fresh air vent goes. And once we get some more welding gas, we'll weld that in. Then we'll weld in the side of the cowl, and then that side will be done and we'll have to move on to the other side. Now, yet again, we're working on the doors to get those fit and, you know, everything going for the quarter panel. So hopefully we'll get the door hinge updated. We'll get the door put back in place, and we'll make sure our stuff lines up, and then we can start working on these quarters. But I broke my spot welder. My brand new spot welder I used several times. I tried to replace the tip, and the tip broke off in the tongs. So I was going to buy a new one anyways, because I need to get a 220 volt one to work on these thick 3 layers of seam on these back quarters. So on that pinch weld. So, you know, that's the way it goes sometimes, unfortunately. I mean, I was going to use the 120 on the rocker and just didn't work out that way. But hey, that's what we're probably going to be doing next week. So like, subscribe, and comment, and we'll see you soon. Peace.
I've been dreaming on in my head like I've seen it. A life worth living is a life with meaning. I'll do what I love till my heart stops beating. I'm feeding this demon. Got a taste, can't erase bitterness in my face. Work a job every day till your dreams fade away. Like a card, never change, but